Hello, Sebastian.
Hey Harry, how are you?
I'm doing well. How is your week going?
It's too hot. I'm melting away. I'm waiting for my air conditioner to arrive. You have a new office?
Kind of. I'm moving between places at the moment. I don't know if I've mentioned it in the podcast, but for viewers who I guess who haven't heard about it, I'm actually going to Buenos Aires to start my digital nomad journey in 2 weeks.
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
Yeah. So
And it's even warmer there, I guess, or not?
well, it's funny because I was saying to you before the podcast, right, that actually we're doing the stupid thing, and as it just becomes summer in Europe, we're going to go to Argentina where it's currently winter. So yeah, not the not the best of decisions.
I mean, you are from the north, so I mean, hopefully it doesn't rain so much there. I don't know.
I mean, at the moment in the UK, it's been raining for the past 3 days, so maybe I'll actually be blessed by going to Argentina because I'll be able to avoid the weather. But yeah, thanks for asking. Anyway, welcome to Harry and Seb Talks. This is our weekly podcast/video podcast that we do, where we talk all things about being an entrepreneur in your business, agency life, and just about everything else. This week, we are talking about systems and processes. So I guess my first question to ask you, Seb, to kind of open up the conversation about systems and processes, which is a favorite of ours as well, I know, is why have a system or process over no system or process?
Because it's more work to implement it. I mean, if you're working alone, I mean, at one point you will figure out when you, maybe not at the beginning when you start your journey as a freelancer, but later when you work already in it, you will figure out that there are some repetitive tasks, and maybe you want to grow with your business and outsource some things in the first step to work with other, and therefore somehow you need to give them checklists. A checklist goes already in the direction of a process, because it's just a list of things that somebody has to do. And the idea is, if you want to grow your business, you need systems, you need processes first, in order that you have more time, because the only thing that we can't buy is time. So
yeah,
your time is precious, and therefore you should have systems and processes in place in order to have more time for the important stuff. For your free time or for your business, depends what you like to do, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And I think the key word there is saving time, because a lot of the time as entrepreneurs, we can like be doing stuff everywhere. And as you said, sometimes if there isn't a system to take care of that, or some sort of process to take care of that guides you through the whole thing, you'll always find that you're making the same mistakes or doing or coming up with the same problems. And
yeah,
I think like a really important part of that as well is like tinkering with the system, like a well-tuned car. You know, you tinker with the parts of the car, and as well as that, you should probably be thinking about, how can I improve the process? A big question I ask my team at the end of every project is, where could we have improved the process here, where it felt like we got a little bit stuck or a little bit, in trouble.
Yeah. And also what you said is tinkering, like this improving. You can only improve something that's somehow written down, because how do you want to improve it if there's nothing you can follow? So you have to start with something, you have to follow it, and then you figure out, oh, there's maybe something more that I need to improve, and you add this to this process.
Do you write your processes usually down in a document, or do you do it in like a flow chart? What does it look like for RE7?
Unfortunately, we don't have so many processes in place. I mean, we have these live processes, but some of them are not written down. This is the process what we are doing now. For example, for our video, I was first thinking, okay, what are the steps when we record the video. So after we finish it, I press stop and then the party starts. So first my PC needs around 5 to 10 minutes to process the video.
Sure.
After that, I have it in a folder. I can, for example, set it already in a specific folder. And then I have certain steps that I wrote down in ClickUp. So I have a ClickUp task. I made a template task. And this template task, I have also some subtasks, because what is also related to this is the thumbnail. What will be hopefully now in this video will be the like button that you will see during the video that will come up, and the subscribe button that will come up, so that you subscribe to our channel and not only watch it. That was, for example, one thing. Yeah.
Maybe it pops up right now.
Yeah. And this is something that just came up last week, because we were promoting the videos and we didn't see so much likes, not so much subscriptions. So I was like, okay, how can we increase this? So we need this. So for next time, Luigi, our responsible person for video, will cut the video, puts an intro there, puts an outro there, puts the subscribe button there, puts the like button there. And then it goes to Geo, who's doing the thumbnail, and she has already a subtask. So if I put the title directly after this video there, so they know exactly what to do, and then it follows several steps, what they have to do. And at the end, I mean, they communicate to each other, and at the end, it will be just posted by Danielle. So Luigi is the person that is responsible for this entire process, and he takes care that everybody is doing its job. And at the end, when it's posted, he closes this job. And I need around 5 minutes. I mean, including the time with the processing the video, which I have to wait for my PC to finish the video. It's maybe around 10 minutes. And then it all goes by itself. And that's the nice part. I just spent now with you the 5 minutes preparation, the video 20 minutes, and then maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes more, and then it's done for me.
So it's quite the process, you could say.
Yes, and after it's posted, also Alex get the notification, hey, now you can advertise it on Google Ads.
Nice. So
there are four people involved, and it all goes without I'm doing anything. I'm just seeing that, oh, video was posted, and then I can check it.
Like I know in the past without a process that it's been quite messy doing this. So for those who are maybe listening and thinking, wow, that sounds like quite the complicated steps to get a video out, would you say that it saved you time having this process and system?
A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, even the entire communication back and forth, asking questions. This is sometimes it's repetitive questions, and sometimes it's just somebody forgot a step. So therefore you have checklists in this process. So that the person that is working on it knows, okay, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. So it's also like as a checklist, because I mean, we are not born to have an elephant memory so that we know every step. And we don't want to do like repetitive tasks all the time. And then we get bored and we don't be so attentive, and then we forget something. So
I think that's really important. And it's, I guess the best way, the analogy to look at it, all of this is like, it's a bit like a recipe you're putting together of steps that are repetitive. So usually a recipe for a cake, if you're cooking a particular one, is usually the same recipe every single time, right? Maybe you'll add a little bit more sugar at one point, or maybe I think you did your homework and read this book that I recommended you. I will just hold it for the others up, because I think this is a good start. And if you're looking to start figuring out your recipes, this systemology by David is really, really cool. And I guess what I was trying to explain was that when people are thinking about building their process for like a team member to use, for example, they could just really think about what are the steps to help you make that cake. So if you're making a campaign for a client, for example, you're making a piece of creative for social media, and you have some steps that you follow every single time to do that, some research, some design, some copywriting, and then posting. How can you put all of those into like a recipe list then that will you got to remember a lot of people aren't you. So as well as doing all that and putting it all together, you have to remember, okay, how can I dumb this down enough? Not in a mean way, but how can I dumb it down enough that anybody can do it? So if Luigi's ill one day, we'd still be able to give the video to somebody and they'd still be able to follow the
I mean,
checklist.
they still need the skill. So they knew how to cut a video, that's for sure. But if you have the person with the skill, the person should also be able to do it by itself. Maybe there will come up some questions which tell me, okay, I need to be more descriptive in the task. But then I overwork the template, and what I'm doing then, normally I duplicate the task then. Probably there's also a process in ClickUp. I can probably also automate it when the duplication of the task, but depends also when we're doing it. So maybe you have it weekly and then we don't do weekly, then you have tasks piling up and you didn't do it. So I like to do it manually. Maybe we should say them also, because when we did our research, there was a bit like, for me, it was hard to understand what is the difference between system and process. So how I remember it now is system would be, for example, marketing. Processes would be search engine optimization, Google Ads, social media marketing. So system combines several things.
I think it's really down to obviously interpretation as well. And like we spoke about this before the podcast, but if you guys are looking for a real definition, it's probably worth watching a YouTube video rather than Seb and I trying to like painfully explain it in this podcast to you. But something that you could consider a system, for example, to dumb it down, is you could say that your morning routine is a system to help make sure that you brush your teeth and you have your vitamins every morning. And then the actual steps inside that morning routine system, you could say, is your process. So brushing your teeth, taking your medication, shaving your head maybe, or shaving your beard if you're so inclined, you know. But having even like personal systems, right, Seb, like outside of work as well, like having personal systems that can take care of like what you do on a weekly basis can be really healthy as well. I know that for me, like having a morning and an evening routine now is like one of the things that I really appreciate that I have, because without it, I don't think I would be as sane as I am in some way.
I mean, some of these things you adapt easily. I mean, they go over in your blood, but doing a video and so on, I mean, if you just do it once per week and so on, and it's quite a complex thing, it helps to document it for sure. And either you now use, as we use ClickUp, you use what tool are you using? Coda. Figure out what tool works best for you, and then you can easily put this in all sorts of tools. Just look for the features that help you to automate things. So it should have like subtasks, it should have some checklists, which makes it easy, and also that you can delegate it to other people.
Agreed. And I think that's the most important part of building these systems and processes, is that your aim, I guess, or goal is to start pushing this to other people so that they can start helping you to complete the work. And if you don't envision really employing employees, then like maybe you don't need loads of systems and processes. But if you're focused on scaling your business, it's like a really core, important part of your business. I wanted to ask you, do you have any cool systems that you've made or processes that you've got within your company that you could share?
The most proud system is now this one with the video processing, onboarding we have for our clients, which is continuously improving. I mean, every month new things come in, or we improve them, or we change them. In order to, because we get some feedback from the clients, so it's also helpful to get feedback from the clients and to have we have sometimes this meeting where we put an extra chair in the room. This is for the customer, so that we know, okay, the customer is our main goal. You know, we want to satisfy the customer needs. So we shouldn't ask not ourselves, what do we want out of this? Because for us, it's mainly saving time to be efficient. But what does the customer want? I think
Yes.
this is the main question, that you have a super efficient process and so on, and it's all going smoothly, but the client isn't happy. That doesn't help you to grow your business. So therefore, ask yourself, and maybe monitor first. I mean, I was doing this for the virtual assistants. Look first what are repetitive tasks that you are doing constantly and that you can automate. That starts with some emails. Maybe there are some emails that you just forward. You can automate this. I mean, you have lots of, it's standard in Outlook and Gmail and so on. Just make a rule and it saves you maybe 30 seconds or 1 minute, and it forwards it automatically, deletes it, and that's it.
Yes, very nice, very nice. And I think to add to that as well, like being able to like look at your repetitive tasks, but also to look at your repetitive processes and think, you know, how can that get turned into a process that I can then give to somebody else? Because at the end of the day, like as we've spoken about at the beginning, our biggest goal here is to save time, as you and I know. And like, how can we focus on saving more time while build processes and systems, and then give that to somebody who has the skills? As you said, Luigi, our video editor, has the skills. I think we'd be in trouble if we didn't have his skills. And be able to then like give the task to him and trust him that he'll be able to deliver as well. I think there's a big part of trust here as well, building trust between the person.
Yes, you need to if you hire people, you need to have a good qualification process in order to figure out what works. And then you have to explain the tasks once and ask if there are any questions. Then after the first time the task is done, you should have also 10-15 minutes call to ask, hey, were there any misunderstandings? Did anything didn't work out? You also should check after it is done, like a quality check, if it's done as you imagined, and then do some adjustments based on what you figured out. I wanted to ask you, what is a process that you are proud of in your agency that saves you maybe lots of time, or you like it because there are so many people involved or so many things at the same time and you don't have to do anything?
So I guess the big system that I made last year, which has been like a big sort of proud moment for me, was we would get lots of requests in from clients, right? Lots of requests, always into my email inbox. I would be the guy who it comes to, and if I was ill or if I was on holiday or whatever, it wouldn't get passed on to the right team member. And as you can imagine, when I'm on holiday, the last thing I want to have to do, read client emails who've got requests and then send them to the right team member. Otherwise you never get a break. So I built a system a bit like a ticket request system. So, you know, when you have a problem with a product, let's say of Apple, and you put in a ticket to request something, and then they'll reply to the ticket. They might tell you that they've received the ticket. They'll say, oh, we're doing such and such with your ticket at the moment, etc. And we decided to build something similar in our agency where clients can use a form to request changes to their website. They send their request in, and there's a couple of options on there. For example, we ask the client to put in their details. I would, but I'm on my iPad.
Can I share it?
I would, but we can't because you'd need public access to it. But
so it's like a dedicated link for your clients.
Yes. I
see.
So they put in their details. They can say whether they would like to be billed after, or would they like to receive a quote. Sometimes the biggest bottleneck for us as a website design agency is client wants a change, we have to quote it, they have to approve the quote, blah blah. It's so much easier if they can just choose the bill after option, which they do 9 times out of 10, which was a really surprising result from this experiment. Anyway, once that form is submitted, gets put into the task manager, a team member is assigned straight away, and I don't have to be in that middleman position anymore, which, believe me, is such a stress reliever.
And how do you do it with the billing? They will tell you then how much to bill, or how is it going?
So there's a cool thing where we have some automated emails that get sent based on the buttons that are clicked on their request. So there's 3 buttons. There's tell them when it's scheduled for, tell them how much it's going to cost, tell them when it's gonna what's been done after it's complete. So we do the scheduled one. As soon as we receive it, we find a time that we can do it. We send them back an automated email saying, this is when we can complete your work by. The second part is if they ask for us to quote, we put just a number in the field, click the quote button, they get sent the amount that it costs. Then obviously we go through the process of sending it off, signing it off. They just have to reply to the email and say, yes, we're happy with that or not. And finally, when the work's complete, somebody just puts a few notes into the notes column, and we send that off, and then the client can see what exactly did we do. Did we do everything that they asked for? Was there anything extra that came up whilst we were doing it as well? I would say that by doing this, we've saved hours, countless hours, maybe even
per
days.
week or per day, or
I would say at least 2-3 days a month we're saving at the moment with the system.
Wow.
Which is just insane, really, in comparison to how messy it was before. But as you scale and you start taking in more clients, right? You guys want to have like, I don't know, 100 or 1,000 clients at some point. We want to have hundreds or thousands of clients at some point. And I think the really important part here is thinking as well, like your processes and your systems that you're building, are they going to support you scaling? Because if we'd carried on with that system, with 100 or even 200 clients, then we would be in trouble straight away. So
yeah, I mean, the more clients you get, either you get your processes in place or you have to hire people, which means additional costs for your company.
Yes, I agree.
And this is like lowering your profit margin, and at the end you are the person that has to pay for it or can't pay a good salary or something. So I think that's how it is, because when you have the systems in place or the tools in place, they cost even every month the same price.
Yeah.
And hiring an employee means like you have additional costs. You need your licenses all in place. Like for us, it's Microsoft 365, it's ClickUp, it's Bitwarden, all the other tools that sum up, plus the cost that you have, plus the learning period. And especially, I mean, at one point you need to hire people, but then again, how will you teach them? You need some processes in order to teach them. If not, your employee will sit the entire day there and explain everything. So what I can share with you, what I'm using in my agency, like as a help, let me quickly share the screen. We have this here in place, ClickMinded. It's not only SEO training. So you have here the SOAP library, standardized operational processes.
Procedures.
Procedures, yeah. And here you have, I don't know how many now, I receive regular emails of them. And you have, like, I can't show you now the tour, but you have here templates where you can check for the templates library. So YouTube description template, SEO strategy template, Facebook ads proposal template, digital marketing audit template. This is especially, of course, for digital marketing agencies. Like for SEO, they have 17, paid advertising 3. So they have lots of templates. I think they have much more than they show here. They have to update it, I guess. And this helps us a lot. I mean, then I can just send this to the employee, the access or the document, and they can do it by themselves. Yeah. And then we can check together what wasn't done correctly, how long did it take, and so on. And this is for the first step, because some of our guys, they come into the agency, they have never done like a social media audit. How should they know how to do social media audit? We don't have the process in place in ClickUp because we know how to do it. But for those who didn't know how to do it, you can just send them the document and they can go through it.
Yeah, very nice. And I think at that place that you just showed, the standard operating procedures website, it's probably a great example of how to even write out your processes as well. If you're new to this.
Yeah, it also helps you. I mean, for us, it's the good thing, it's updated by them. So we don't have to update it because I mean, when you work with Facebook, Google, they update all the time something new, like now you have the button there, now you change the menu there, and you need an entire team to make this up to date. So therefore, we work with these things together, like we write in ClickUp what template to use and so on. So we link together through it.
Very
This
nice.
is, for example, yeah, this is something that helps us and also to save resources.
I think I completely forgot about the word, but yeah, the best way to define what a great agency's like process library looks like, it would be a big library of standard operating procedures that are kept up to date as well, I would say, because out of date SOPs are probably like the bane of some agencies. And having like, I know a couple of agencies that we've spoken to before, you know, have like wikis and stuff, places like that, where all of their knowledge can be put in one place, and then somebody, if you need to find out something, can go in there and just search for it and see if it's there to read about.
Yeah, wikis is also another way how you can do this. We are doing this also on ClickUp. I try to have everything in this tool because the more tools you have, the more cost you have, the more complicated it gets. I mean, you have always to give them access to every tool at the end. And when you can have it all in one tool and it works out, why not?
Yeah. And I wanted to kind of like just sort of speak about like, you know, the benefits of doing all of this really. And for me, the reason that I love processes and systems is, and I wrote down here, it builds rhythm, speed, and familiarity. So once you start doing this process once or twice or 3 times, by the time you get around to the 4th time, it'll feel very, very easy to do. And then you can almost automate that to the point where like you can just go through it and do it very quickly and efficiently. And that's kind of some of the pluses for me. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, one thing you said that you know already the steps, and it's also easier for me when I explain something to the client, especially when they in the first call with them. You have the processes in your mind, so you know what are the steps, so you can explain to them the steps, you know, which is awesome because otherwise, if you don't have it written down and you don't repeat it all time long, and you explain it to the client, maybe you are messed up or you forget a step or something. But if you have processes in place, I mean, it's also easier for you to explain it to the client. What systems are you using? What processes are in place?
How do you make sure that you always remember your process? Have you ever forgotten it before?
I mean, I only speak about the processes that I know for sure. And you mean now when I speak to the client or what?
I think so. I think like sometimes people can like accidentally miss a step or skip a step or something like that. Like, should they always go for a checklist? What would you suggest?
Yeah, checklist. We have checklists. So in every task, even if it's boring, you have to cross it out that it's done. Because then I can ask, okay, you have said here you crossed it out, but it's not done. So how can we make sure the next time when you're doing things, you not just cross it out, maybe that you do it.
I agree.
I mean, at one point we have already for some in place, like 4I principle, so that the second person is checking it.
Yeah.
That will come for sure. I mean, our plan is also to implement quality management by ISO, and there I think it's mandatory for some things, and that will come, the quality management, especially when you have new employees onboarding and they need to be checked that it's done correctly, especially when you work with clients.
I agree. I think checklists are really important. Having stuff written down in task managers. Always have like templated tasks that you know you can just drag into a project every time a new one is made, so that you can just follow the same process every time. Like if you happen to forget, try and write it down and document it. I think documentation is a really important thing and something that we've spoken about quite a bit. Making sure that you know you just keep that at the top of mind rather than forgetting about it. We're kind of coming towards the end now, Sebastian. So I wondered if you had.
I wanted to share something else.
Yeah.
I just remembered. Let me quickly share the screen. For example, I also stumbled over this. I don't know, not agency, company, SendPilot. Streamline your operations in ClickUp. So for those who use ClickUp, they have like solutions. They can help you to put the processes in your ClickUp. And this evening they have a call regarding how to streamline your PPC operations in ClickUp. So I'm following the blog in order to get some ideas. This is also something if you're looking out for how to implement processes to follow these guys.
Very nice, very nice. I think it's really important, and it sounds like a great company if they're doing calls to help like teach you about processes and stuff.
Yeah, they even have they make an entire workshop with you, especially for your company, and implement them for you in ClickUp. Depends how much you want to spend. If you say, oh, I made so much money, I don't want to take care of this mess, please do this for me. As I understood, they are doing this. They also do the onboarding with the team. Of course, depends how much you are willing to invest.
Yeah, I agree. It's always like that though, isn't it? It depends how much money you have.
Because not everybody is born as a process manager.
Yes.
I mean, and especially when you work in a creative business, I mean, it's hard to follow the processes or to implement the processes. But at the end, they will give you the freedom for your creativity. I think that's really important.
The most important part. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you everybody for listening to us. This has been Systems and Processes inside Harry and Seb Talks. I've completely forgotten the outro. Sebastian can be followed at RE7 Consulting on Instagram, RE7 Consulting on YouTube. And as well as that, you can find him, Sebastian.Bayer, on LinkedIn. You can find myself on LinkedIn, Harry Roper. You can find me on YouTube, Harry Roper, and TikTok as well, Imaginary Space. And as well as that, before Sebastian asked me whether my website has been done, it has been done. So you can find it imaginaryspace.co.uk.
Come on. I want to share the screen. Let me quickly
It's our first alpha sort of launch of the website. We're not announcing anything publicly yet, but if you happen to go on there and find anything that you like.
This is the website. Imaginary space. Okay, let me share the screen. That's your website. Ooh. Click here. Website design deluxe brands. That looks cool. A Webflow, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Of course. Nice. I like that you guys use the icons. No, looks really cool. So if you want to check out or you want a free review, just go on this website, imaginaryspace.co.uk. And next time we will find you in Buenos Aires, or?
Is
it already?
So we have Emily next week, and then the week after I'll be in Buenos Aires.
Okay.
For our next
guest next week.
Yeah. So we're with Emily Gordana next week, which I'm very excited about. So until then, I've said all the links, so you can find us at all those places. And until then, see you soon, Seb.
See you soon, Harry. Bye-bye.
Bye.